What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you're all doing wonderful today. And we're going to be taking a look at another Hololive deck, this time a mono green 8-bar, focused around the Fubuki Climax combos and Iris. So I like to call it FubukIRyS, for anyone who's familiar with Iris as one of the VTuber. She likes to incorporate her name into different words for various puns, so I figured it was appropriate for this particular deck profile. But, yeah, like I said, Fubuki had a level 1 Climax combo from the, not from Gamers, it was from the first generation trial deck, and in Volume 2, her level 3 got a Climax combo, and it's just really cool. Granted, we love 8-bar, so it definitely has all the gripes and complaints of that, so... but yeah, no, let's try to take a look at this and see what we're cooking with. I can't really call this a budget deck as much. I'm going to go ahead and state right now, this Iris is a promo that floats between like $4 to $5, so it kind of depends if you want to pay for that or not. Otherwise, everything else in here is like ridiculously cheap. Like if that's the only pricey card, you know, I was just saying. I'm going to figure to go ahead and state that instead of having to go ahead and do the price thing at the end of the video. But let's start with the level 3s. We have hashtag Drawing Fubuki. Shirakami Fubuki is a 3295. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, she gets minus a level in your hand. She gets 500 power for each of your other Hololive characters in your backstage, so just basically a plus 1,000. So she becomes a 10-5, and she also has a heal 1 on play, just very nice to have. We have 4 copies of With You in a Land Glowing Red. Shirakami Fubuki is a 3/2/10k. When she's placed on stage from your hand, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 card amongst them, put it into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. Typically, this effect is really good for digging for a climax combo, for your climax, or maybe more like typically for digging for the climax. But you can search for more copies of this, obviously, as well. The reason I say is you typically don't have a problem with gold bars getting into your hand. You're more than likely just going to be trying to search for either more copies of her, maybe the level 3 Iris or something, you know, just saying. When this card attacks, if Shirakami's Secret Base, which, like I said before, is a gold bar, but I want to show off this art. This looks pretty fucking cool. When it is in your climax area, you can pay 1 and pitch 2 cards. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent, then you choose up to 2 cards in your opponent's waiting room, return them to their deck, and your opponent shuffles their deck. So a little bit of burn, and then some decompression on top of that, you know, just trying to help your chances as you go along. Basically trying to help her, because that's on attack, it would try to help her soul damage try to stick just a little bit better, so here's hoping. But yeah, so 4 copies of that with the, you know, obviously from Volume 2. Now, like I said, this is the promo Iris. Before it melts away Iris, we have a 3/2/10k. If your opponent has a level 3 or higher character, this gets minus 1 level while in your hand. So either you've somehow pushed them to level 3 before they've pushed you to level 3, or they've, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be where they early play to level 3 or something, like standbyed it in, or, you know, something on that nature. She can come out early. There's a Darkness from Konosuba that has a similar early play condition. During the turn, this card was placed on the stage from your hand. When this card attacks, all of your characters get plus 2,500 power and the following ability until end of turn. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room, and if you do, put that character into your opponent's clock. This gives it to herself, which is really nice. But yeah, you get to buff everybody and get some very interesting spot removal depending on what your opponent has. You basically make certain that they're not gonna be able to encore it back and just get rid of it. So we have 2 copies of this. Since we only have like the Fubuki as the early play condition, I felt like including this particular level 2, even though it is a 2 cost, as kind of filling the place of an early play. The early plays are able to push for a bit more damage because they have more soul. But I didn't feel right doing just a playset of one or the other, so I put in 2 copies of this one, Wishing for a Future with You, Iris. It is from the Premium Booster, is a 2/2/65. It gets 1,000 power for each of your other Hololive characters, so it can become a 10-5, so, you know, respectable stats. This is also a really good standby target in general if you're running any standby stuff. At the beginning of the Encore step, if you don't have another rested character in your center stage, you can pay 1 stock to rest her. So just she can save herself very easily, but she's also already big as it is, so it's not like they're really going to get over her until they pull out their own level 3s. So, just saying. Then we have 2 copies of A Step Towards the Future Iris. This is with her new updated model and everything, so you get to see kind of the before the glow up and after the glow up type thing. So it is a 217K. On play, she gets 1,000 power, equal to the number of total Hololive characters you have. So she does count herself. So with a full field, if you play her last, she would gain 5,000 to make her a 12K. When her battle opponent becomes reversed, if there's a climax in your climax area, you can choose a Hololive character in your waiting room and put it into your stock. Little faux climax combo there, just a little bit extra stock production, because the level 3 Fubukis are going to require, like, you know, stock and hand advantage, so you want to save as much hand as you possibly can. So it's better to get a little bit extra stock. Like I said, I couldn't really decide between just running a playset of this and a playset of the either or, so I just put 2 and 2, and it honestly has worked out pretty well. We do have some non-FubukIRyS in here, but it's mostly just it's actually only in the backups, which is funny. We have this Wishing for a Future with You, Aki. It's a 2-1. It's a 2,500 backup, but it gives an extra 1,000. So basically, it's a 3,500 backup total. 1 copy of this Eofi is also a 2,500 backup, but if you play her as a 2-1 2K, she is an anti-change reverser. The level of this card's battle opponent is higher than your opponent's level. When she becomes reversed, you put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room, and if you do, put that character into your opponent's clock, which is really cool to be able to do that. Just having a little bit extra anti-change, because I really didn't want to just go, oh, yep, more Suisei needs to go into this, even though you could just put Suisei in place of this, but having the reverser on color and everything is kind of cool too. That is it for the level 2s. We're going to go to the level 1s. Once again, this Splashing Water Shirakami Fubuki is from the trial deck. It is a 1/0/45. During your turn, if all of your characters are Hololive, this gains 2k power, making her a respectable 65. When her battle opponent becomes reversed, if the Fox of Possibility, which is your other one right here, looking all nice, and just like I really love this outfit. It's actually really fun. If that is in your climax area and you have another Hololive character, you can discard 1 card, and if you do, choose up to 2 Hololive characters in your waiting room, return them to your hand. So that is very nice. It kind of gives off the Zekken Yuki vibes to a degree. Not completely, because it's a different, because the Zekken Yuki I know searches from deck instead of salvaging and all that. But she does get very big. She becomes a 7/5 just with the climax combo alone, and with another card coming up, she can get even bigger. But we do have a couple other cards here. We have Hikoboshi ? Shirakami Fubuki is a 1/0/3K. When this card attacks, all of your characters get the following ability: that when the card's trigger check reveals a climax, you can discard a climax. And if you do, salvage back a Hololive character from your waiting room. This is very useful in a 8 gold bar deck. Being able to just go, okay, cool, if I trigger a gold bar, I'm pitching it immediately afterwards and salvaging something. On top of the fact that she is a cost 0 or lower reverser, but is a clock bomb reverser, I should say. So being able to just get rid of your opponent, stuff like that, is just very nice. So a little bit extra on top of the very nice utility. And then last, we have 2 copies of Towards the Future Together. Okami Mio is a free 2k backup. Can't go wrong there. Also, gamers. That is it for the level 1s. To go on to the level 2s, I contemplated bumping this up to like 3, but it works perfectly fine because we do have a split with the Iris Brainstormer as well. But we have this 00500 Overwhelming Curiosity Shirakami Fubuki. If you have 2 or more other Hololives, all of the level 1 Fubuki get an extra 1,000 power. It also buffs an Aki Rose, but we don't run that. But he has a Brainstorm of pay 1, rest this, mill 5 for each climax, draw 1 card. Now, the mill 5, typically this is not the best Brainstorm. I feel in terms of effects, the Iris is a better Brainstormer. But I will say, because it mills more, it mills 5 cards instead of 4, possibly putting some better targets for you for the level 1 Fubuki combo into the waiting room. So just keep that in mind. 4 copies of Wishing for a Future with you, Shirakami Fubuki, is a 0/0/25. When her battle opponent becomes reversed, you can put her into your memory, and if you do at the beginning of your next draw phase, you get to play her back on any position of your stage. So just kind of bounces out at level 0, which is kind of nice. 2 copies of this one doesn't really come up that much, but it's just a neat card to have, especially because this can also buff the level 1 Fubuki. It's a 0/0/15 Shirakami Fubuki. On play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an event or a Hololive character, we don't run any events, so as long as it doesn't whiff off of a climax, you're good. This card's soul does not decrease by side attacking, which can be very nice if you need to play this at like level 1 or something, because it does have an effect. When this card attacks, choose one of your other Hololive characters. That gets X power until end of turn. X is equal to that character's soul times 1,000. Meaning, if you do use this on the level 1 Shirakami Fubuki for the climax combo, she's going to have at least 2 soul. So she can give 2k power, bumping her up from a 6/5 to a 7/5 to a 9/5 before anything else. And if you also have the other one in back row, you can bump her up to a very respectable 10/5 with the extra 1,000 power from this one. So she can get big and can ensure some reverses, which is very nice. And then we have 2 copies of one of the promo drop searchers. Basically, you can. There was like a whole bunch of different promos that basically all have the same exact effect here. I just wanted to pick the IRyS one to stay on theme, and I do have copies of this in real life. So 0/0/15. If this card is in the middle position of your center stage, she gets 2k power, making her a 35. And on play, you can pay 1, pitch 1, search your deck for a Hololive. So typically, you're just going to search for the Fubuki, but like I said, just nice to include. We have 2 copies of Moments of Relaxation IRyS. When your character's trigger check reveals a card with a crit trigger in its icon, choose one of your Hololive characters. It gains 1,000 power till end of turn. This effect is better in a non-gold bar deck. In case you trigger a climax that has a crit trigger, you get a little bit more benefit off of that, because this deck does have several crit triggers in here, but it is just a little bit more useful when you have like the climaxes also have it. It just becomes a little bit better. So then it has a Brainstorm. Pay 1, rest this card, mill 4. For each climax revealed, you get to salvage back a character from your waiting. So we get draw power and salvage power and IRyS power. Then 4 copies of Towards the Future Together Shirakami Fubuki. I will state before we get into this, the price for this double rare has gone up a little bit since before I made the deck and started working with it. So price is going to vary for this. I do remember this. Once I saw the card, I was like, oh yeah, the price went up for this too. So this is actually, I think, more expensive than the IRyS promo, just stating. It's a 0/0/1k. When this is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your Hololive characters. It gains 1,500 power for the turn, which once again can be relevant if you give it to the level 1 Fubuki. And when this is put into your waiting room from the stage, you can discard 1 card. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 level 1 or higher card from amongst them. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand. Put the rest into your waiting room. Because it does say card, you could add level 1 and higher events, just stating that, but we don't run any, so it doesn't really matter. But once again, use this at your own discretion because of the price tag has gone. And once again, we have 4 copies of the Fox of Possibility and 4 copies of Shirakami's Secret Base. I just noticed the little dude in the back there. It's kind of cute. And that is going to be it for the deck for FubukIRyS. I figured it was neat to have a little theme like this. I was looking for a deck to be able to include the irises into, and this just happened to work out way better than I thought it would. So very, very fortunate in being able to pick up the promos. I was like, oh my god, are we even going to get this in English? So I was very, very glad when I saw that this was a card on TCG Player, and I was like, oh, well, the moment I see someone with a play set, they're making money off of my ass. So, but yeah, no, that is going to do it for the deck. Thank y'all very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you would like to. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check out the deck. I hope you are also a fellow lover of VTubers. Icon words. I'm very tired. But thank y'all very much, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.